Hello, everybody, and welcome to an exciting episode of the EladPod. Today, we are on site with FEMA and SBA in St. Charles. We have wonderful guests here to talk to you about the emergency assistance that is available for folks in St. Louis County, St. Louis City, and St. Charles. And you can come to the site, and there will probably be a few more too for you to apply for that assistance. We've got the experts here. We'll talk about it. As you have questions, go ahead and put those comments right where you're watching from. If you are watching from Twitter, there's a little secret. Those comments don't actually make it through to here. So instead, if you can, there's the YouTube link at eladgross.live. You'll see that website at the bottom of the screen the whole time. So if you go to that YouTube page, you'll be able to make a comment on Facebook, wherever really you're watching from. LinkedIn sometimes works, sometimes doesn't, so that's another tip. If you can, go ahead and share the video so that more people can see the information we're gonna be sharing today. We'll be sharing some of the screens, the websites, everything else to get you applying for the help that you need, or for you to refer that to other folks that you may be working with or neighbors that you know as well. So without any further ado, let me welcome both of our guests. Give me just a second, make sure we got everything here. All right, Issa, Susheel, welcome.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
No, thanks for coming to Missouri. Thanks for doing all of this. On the as you're watching right now, you'll see a website, disasterassistance.gov. That's the place where you'll want to get started, and a 1-800 number. That's 1-800-621-3362. So that will be on the screen the whole time. Those are the places to get assistance from. The other number that says text in order to ask a question, that's my cell phone. So don't use that to apply for any of the assistance we'll be talking about today. But we will talk about all of that and what's going on. So, gentlemen, thanks for coming. Issa, could you introduce yourself and what you're doing here?
Yes, Issa Mansari. I'm the FEMA Media Relations Specialist, trying to get accurate information about FEMA and what we are doing here to assist, to make sure that we help disaster survivors and those that were impacted by the flood in St. Louis. That is why I'm here.
Yeah, great.
And
Susheel?
alongside, in the presidential declaration, when the state requests individual assistance and SBA on this application, so the state of Missouri Emergency Management requested us to be here alongside FEMA. That's where we're here. So our role is to provide liquidity long-term in the form of low interest rate disaster loans for renters, homeowners, businesses of all sizes, and most private nonprofits. So thanks for having us here.
Yeah, absolutely. No, thanks for coming. I guess, so we've got this website, we've got these locations. Is this the first disaster location that's been put up so far?
So far, we have 3 disaster locations or disaster recovery centers. We have 3 of them. So this one where we are now is the disaster recovery number 3. That is at the Disability Development Disability Resource Board, which is here on 1025 County Club Road. This is in St. Charles. Then we also have the first disaster recovery center, which was opened about 7 days ago. That was in Hazelwood Civic Center. It was opened. Then we have another one that was opened at the Rankin Technical College.
Oh, okay.
It is open there. So the Disaster Recovery Center, the first one, which is at the Hazel Center, is open from 8 to 7 p.m. Today it is closed, but it's going to be open back on Monday, midday till 7 p.m.
Okay.
So then the one here is open today, as you can see, from 8 p.m.
It's definitely open. I see that. Yeah.
8 a.m. Sorry, till 7 p.m.
Okay.
So we have 3.
Yeah.
And in addition to the Disaster Recovery Center, where SBA is co-located with FEMA, because the relationship is symbiotic, as we will find out as we go through the interaction, we have a separate business recovery center at the Urban League in St. Louis also.
Yeah.
So that's specifically open for the purposes of assisting specific needs of a business owner.
Gotcha.
It just so happens that if a business owner is a renter and a homeowner, we can assist them too. We're not going to turn them away.
Right.
But we have a total of 4 locations 3 of which were co-located with FEMA. One, there is no FEMA presence in the building. It's all SBA.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay. Yeah, and they're located in different spots too, which makes it convenient for folks to come to.
And my understanding is that, when you mention Urban League, everybody in St. Louis is aware of the presence, and it's a very known building, if you will.
Right, very reputable nonprofit organization. Everybody here knows about it. So absolutely, good choice there. So I've been in and about. So I'm kind of pointing in this direction for everybody who's watching. But just on these other side of these doors, there's all these tables set up. There's people coming through from the community. What is happening in this room?
Oh, yes. What is happening in this room, that is the Disaster Recovery Center. One, FEMA has specialists there, and of course, who are able to help applicants. They walk in. When they walk in, they apply for assistance, which is a rental assistance, personal property assistance, lodging reimbursement, then basic home repairs for those that have been impacted. So you come in there, you file your application, the specialist will help you go through the process of applying for individual assistance, a step-by-step process. So sometimes people come in to make sure that they started the process, or if you started the process online, then maybe it's not complete, then you can come in there, the specialist will be able to explain to you what exactly you need to do. And when you walk in there, what normally you'll be required to bring along will be your phone number where you'll be reached.
Okay.
Then, of course, your address, your current address where you are staying, then where the address where you were during the disaster. So we'll talk more about that when we come back to that, what you need to come with to apply.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay. So I guess in these, you mentioned something I think is particularly interesting. So if somebody has started online and maybe they're having an issue with it, they can still come here in person and get help.
Yes, you can visit any of the disaster recovery center. You can walk in, you go through the process, then FEMA will give you an application number or your registration number.
Got it.
So they'll be able to look through and go with you one-on-one to make sure that the process is smooth.
Okay.
So, but we'll come back to emphasize on especially what you need to bring in, the information you need to apply.
Yeah. Okay.
But so the disaster recovery center opened this morning, so
Right. Okay.
welcome is a welcoming place, so everyone can come in there.
It's been very welcoming. I feel very welcome. I'm not even applying for anything. Okay, so that's what FEMA is doing. So what SBA is also here too.
Right.
So what can you do here with SBA?
And to pick up where my good friend Isa dropped off, the reason we're co-located is a reflection of our symbiosis, right? About 67% of the time in this particular disaster, if once you register with FEMA and based on the way your questionnaire is responded to, there is a 2/3 possibility that should be referred over to the SBA. If that happens in real time, the FEMA folks can walk you over to the SBA table and say, this person has been referred over to the SBA for further processing, whether it be personal property or homeowners. Businesses do not have to register with FEMA. It's nice if you do, but there is no business lending program, so they could come to us directly if you happen to be here, if you happen to be a homeowner or renter. So that whole process of when you register with FEMA referred over to the SBA plays itself out in our disaster recovery centers. If you're referred, you walked over.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, maybe it might be a good time. Maybe I'll put that graphic up to help folks. Like, here's the steps to apply, and here's what it looks like.
Let me just go there.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah,
yes,
please.
about the steps to apply.
Yeah.
So, when you come into disaster recovery center, you need, as I said earlier on, you bring in your phone number where you can be reached.
Okay.
Yes, to be contacted. Then, of course, the address at the time of the flooding, where you were staying, where you were impacted. The address where you are staying now, so that you will reach immediately in case FEMA wants to contact you. Then, of course, your social security number of one in the household. Then the basic list of what you lost, the losses.
Okay.
Then you can also bring in your bank information. Then if you choose direct deposit, so if you are approved, then FEMA will deposit that money immediately. Then insurance information. If you have an insurance policy, you can also bring your insurance policy or your agency. So these are the things that you need to come in with here. As I said earlier on, FEMA does the rental assistance, personal property assistance, lodging reimbursement, then basic home repair, then other serious needs.
Okay, got it. Okay, so when they're coming here, they want to bring, let's say if somebody's missing something, can you start the application for them here? Or do you say, hey, look, here's the documents you need, come on back so you can do it all in one time? Or is there some way for, I don't know, is there another way for folks to get you that information if they don't have it when they're here?
Definitely, because that is why the specialists are here. You
Okay.
can start the process. Then if something is missing, you can go back and
great.
get it. You come back to them. Then if you start the process online, if you are stuck, then you can also come here. That is what they are here to help.
Gotcha.
To make sure that if you look at it, the disaster recovery centers are brought very close to the people so that you don't need to run miles away to go somewhere else. So they bring the disaster recovery center close to where people are affected. That eases their problem of traveling all over the place.
Yeah.
So you can also walk in.
And the same thing goes for the SBA. You know, we want our applicants, when I say our applicants,
Yeah.
to stop by as is. Because a lot of times with a natural event,
Yeah.
consequentially, literally,
Right.
they don't have the documents. It
Right.
flooded, it got wet, it's got destroyed, which is part of our preparedness message too. A lot of times in my visits nationwide, everything west of the Mississippi is handled out of Sacramento. In our preparedness seminars, the message that we like to push out there is, put your vital documents up in the cloud. This way, when you do make those visits into the DRC, when that time happens, not a question of if, it's a matter of when, whatever you happen to be, keep those documents up in the cloud. Whether you use iCloud, whether you use Google and Drive, OneDrive, whatever those different services happen to be, keep it there. But as far as anything you need when you walk in the door, we'll tell you what you need.
Yeah. It's one of the questions I had, I guess, based on some of the, have some evidence of what's going on. Are you recommending that folks are, photographing what has happened, looking at the damage, and basically preserving whatever that information is and what they've lost at this point?
Yeah, normally you have to make a basic list, as we said, basic list of lists. So if you are able to photograph them and also just to remember what you really lost.
Right, got it. Okay.
And on our end, it's an honor system. We don't require it. If you have it, that's great. Simply because, again, trying to revisit, the horrific images of what happened is a pain point. So if you know what you lost, as my good friend Lisa said, if you have it, great, but we're not requiring it simply because of it's an honor system. If you tell us that you lost your TV, we'll take your word for it. If you tell us you lost, you had damages to your car, that's part of the personal property. If you say that you had damages to your facade, to your home, to your fence, to your bedroom, stuff like that, all those things will bear itself out when our appraiser goes in to appraise the property as part of our application process. So we don't need it because it'll become more self-evident as we go down the process.
Got it, right. So as part of the process, at some point, there is an appraisal, and that they then look and say, okay, here's what this is valued at, and here's what we can cover at this point.
Correct. And here's, we'll toss it back and forth because here's one critical functionality. The appraisal process for FEMA is different than the SBA.
Okay.
The registration process is very simply put to have applicants have safe, secure sanitary conditions at their disposal. That's FEMA's role up front. Go ahead, Isa.
Yes. Upfront is to make sure that we provide assistance, as I was saying, rental assistance, personal property loss, or lodging reimbursements, immediate needs.
Okay.
So these are what FEMA will look into and say, okay, let's try to help and assist this. So first of all, the registration process. You don't forget, if you have lost your properties and impacted, come to the Disaster Recovery Center, or you go to the website, that is the disasterassistant.gov, or you call the 800-621-3362. So that is where you start.
And then what will happen is, as we mentioned about the need for the co-location, if you're referred over to the SBA, the actual repair, recovery, and rehabilitation of that personal property loss or damages to their home, those funds come from the SBA. And our interest rates are as low as 1.6875, 1.688 to be exact. And that basically is a cash flow loan, right? And the program is for the uninsured and the underinsured. And every insurance company has a deductible. We will cover those.
Okay.
So if you are insured, mathematically and by definition, you're underinsured. Because
Right.
you don't ever get.
Right.
And I had a question.
A lot of folks are realizing that right now. Yeah.
And as you might know, I had a lot of questions. Tell me, once you apply with the SBA, is there a magical amount that shows up that we're approved for? That dollar amount of approval is what the appraiser is trying to ascertain when he comes out to the property. In FEMA's world, the appraisal process is a little different. I'll have Isa cover that piece. But on the SBA side, we're looking to gather the information to help you repair as if the disaster didn't take place. So all 3 rooms, if you're a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home, both of your cars if you're a 2-car family, your TV, your fence, your sheetrock, your mold. Just to give you an idea to the person listening into our podcast, 1 inch of rainwater or 1 inch of water in a home approximately equates out to $25,000 worth of damages.
Wow.
So when someone says, I only had an inch,
Yeah.
$25,000. Your thoughts?
Yeah, with FEMA, it's like one thing we want people to understand is that only 1 applicant per household.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yes, and then FEMA does not pay for lost or spoiled food.
Okay.
Then by law, FEMA does not duplicate insurance or grants.
Sure.
And mind you, the FEMA grant is is not taxable.
Oh, so it's exempt from you. You don't have to report on
sort of.
taxes.
Yes,
Got it.
exactly,
Okay.
sort
That's
of
a great
that.
question. Yeah.
Yeah. So as you were saying, the process is after applying, then FEMA will send someone to take a look at what is damaged or to assess.
Right.
Go from there. Then after that, if you are qualified, then obviously you get your assistance, the fund that is sent to you, the grant, so that you can start. FEMA doesn't make you whole, but at the same time, it just tries to provide for you so that you'll be able to start a new page.
Yeah.
So that is where we have other resources. As you were saying, we have the SBA, where you come in, so that if your insurance doesn't cover everything where they stop, then FEMA takes off from there.
And the other part of that insurance piece is a lot of times post-disaster, insurance companies have a little bit of a lagged response.
Yeah. I was
And
going
to
to ask about the response time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
To address that lag in response, we have a document which basically is called assignment of insurance proceeds.
Okay.
So if you're approved for a loan to repair your home, for your car, for anything else on personal property, we can take assignment of insurance proceeds so that your friendly neighbor, State Farm, or Allstate, or Geico, whoever else it happens to be, doesn't have to, the applicant doesn't have to wait for them
Right.
to issue a check.
Right.
And here's the biggest kicker of it all, the time value of money. For example, using you as an example, Elad, you have $50,000 worth of damage, right? And the insurance company is supposed to cover $40,000 of it. The uninsured portion is only 10.
Right.
SBA can make you whole by lending you all of the 50. And then when the insurance company processes its claim, it pays down the loan, and the net effect is you still took out $10,000, but you have all the monies to pay your contractors to help repair today,
Right.
not waiting for it
Instead
in the
of
future.
waiting.
And
Yeah.
that is huge. It puts people's mind at ease.
Yeah. How quick does the funding from FEMA and the SBA, how quickly is that, how quick is that process?
Let my good friend go first.
Yeah, with FEMA, it takes 7 to 10 days
Okay.
if you are approved, so that the money will be deposited to your direct account if you choose direct deposit. So that is normally the process.
So that's 7 to 10 days from like you apply,
Yeah.
approved, and you have money in your bank account?
Right.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
And for the SBA start to finish, again, the assumption is you have a complete set of packages, because we'll ask for a pay stub, we'll ask for a tax return, we'll ask for whatever unique situation it might be for each one of the applicants.
Yeah.
Start to finish is about 30 days.
Got it.
And those funds are dispersed in lump, but let me rephrase it.
Okay.
Lump sum, but there is a percentage of draw that we use. So in other words, if you have a cost estimate that has a breakdown of what damages took place when the appraiser goes out and we figure out what the damages happen to be, we're expecting the applicant to actually have a contract with the contractor so that they know what needs to happen when. So two things
Got it,
happen. So
okay.
let's say you have a tranche. The first tranche is, I want to fix my sheetrock.
Okay.
Dollars and cents are put out there. Once the job is complete, the contractor says it's complete, the applicant says, I am good with the whole process, right?
Yeah.
Everything's hunky-dory, then that portion of the loan is then put into the contractor's bank account. It saves interest, it's simple interest, of course.
Right.
At 1.688% is really almost cheap money or zero cost of money.
Yeah.
I read an article the other day that said Goldman Sachs has a interest rate for 1.75% for their savings rates. I also frequently love to quote the fact that the cost of borrowing for the United States Treasury is in the low threes.
it's like double
okay?
that, yeah, right.
So when an applicant is able to borrow money cheaper than the cost of the United States on
Yeah.
the Treasury level at 1.688, it's a no-brainer that you want to register with FEMA. If referred, fill out the application, get your money, and if we can't approve you, we'll refer you back to FEMA's other needs assistance.
Yeah, yeah. What happens? Yeah, so that's exactly what I was going to ask. So you said if we can't approve you, like under what situations is SBA unable to approve somebody? And then where that person just goes back to FEMA to? I mean, what happens to that person if they
I'll
can't?
be glad to
afford work?
address that particular piece. So basically, the highest percentage reasons for a turn down on the SBA or a declination of the SBA is lack of income.
Okay.
In other words, expenses exceed your income. Okay? Then the other part of it is credit history. There's delinquency with federal debt, existing delinquency with a current lender. Those are the top two. The other one is if you're delinquent with any federal obligations, that's a turn down. Back child support payments. And then if you mark off what we call a 912, basically has to do with misdemeanors and other types of infractions with the law.
Okay.
We will refer them to the legal department in headquarters, and they'll come back and tell us whether or not we can proceed with that type of scenario.
Okay.
But the top two, dissatisfactory credit, unsatisfactory credit experience, and also a lack of income are the two most common reasons for a turn down. In that case, we refer them back to FEMA. It's an electronic process where someone will be aware that they were referred to FEMA, will actually issue a decline letter also, and that opens the door for additional grant assistance. So this is one of those rare cases when segments of the community feel that they don't want a loan, they don't qualify for a loan, they can't afford a loan.
Yeah.
Make it a self-fulfilling prophecy, please. Come by, apply, get that answer that you already know, so that door number 3 opens for you, and our role has been completed, that we attest to the fact that you don't qualify for a loan.
Yeah.
And by the way, opens up the other needs assistance with FEMA.
Okay. What is that? What is the other? So that's the ONA, right? That's that program. What can you get at that point that you couldn't have gotten before?
Go ahead, Chair.
That ONA, the ONA program with FEMA.
That is the unmet needs, you mean? Yeah. So these are other needs that FEMA can help with, say, for example, medical assistant, but those come down the line because we are still early into the process.
Okay.
Yet, so for now it's just the registration process and
Right,
the initial
sure.
application. So for now, I can tell you that FEMA has approved almost more than 15 million in individual assistance.
In this area, in Missouri already?
Right.
Wow, okay.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Then more than 4,000, about 4,000 households have been approved with FEMA individual grants. Then, of course, the National Flood Insurance Program has paid 4.6 million. So these are some of the things that we look at. And as I said, the process is still just opening, and we go down as we continue, FEMA continues to open other possibilities.
Is there a situation where if somebody comes to FEMA and says, hey, look, here's the damage I had, here's, I need help with this. Is there a situation where FEMA says, hey, we're going to send you to SBA instead of you working with us? Or is it from the very beginning FEMA saying, we're going to, you can access a grant rather than a loan? Because I think there are some folks, right, they hear, I know that interest rate is very low, and anybody who's looking to shop for a home right now, you probably also oh, that's a really low rate. But there are some folks who are oh, it's a loan, I'm not going to, just like you said, there are people who, and make that prophecy fulfill it. But when you first start, is there some point where FEMA's saying, no, you don't get a grant now, go to SBA? And what are those circumstances where you might be sent to SBA instead of getting a grant right from the get-go?
And then just to make our lanes very clear, speaking on behalf of SBA, there's certain questions that refers to insurance on the application with FEMA when you register with FEMA that drives the applicant. So for example, using you as a subject applicant, if you mention that you have damages to your home, when you register with FEMA, perhaps they can assist you with temporary relocation assistance.
Okay.
Perhaps put you up in a hotel, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But at some point in time, you got to go back home. Where the repair money comes from, SBA.
Yeah.
So that's a very specific example. And then based on the way you answer the questionnaire up front, there's about a third of the population, approximately, that never ever leave FEMA's safe, secure, sanitary condition grants, leading down the path to other needs assistance. So for example, our loan program so far has had 48 applicants, homeowners and renters, that have been approved as of 5 o'clock yesterday, about $1.4 million on the streets. And that is picking up steam as we go along, because as I mentioned, FEMA's referring applicants over to the SBA, individuals and homeowners only. And those applicants, when they apply, they have two possible outcomes. It's a binary outcome.
Yeah.
Either they're approved or they're denied. And let's talk about the approval. The approval process is usually about 2 to 3 weeks, and the money comes directly from the Treasury.
Yeah.
So when the underwriting is complete, it's basically a simple calculus, if you will. What do you make? What are your expenses? What have you left over? Whatever you have left over, can that repay the damages that we just trued up to the appraisal process? And can that be paid over a 30-year maximum term? No fees, no points, no closing costs, no prepayment penalty. Okay? And the applications have to be in by the 7th of October.
Okay.
That is a statutory deadline for both FEMA and I and our agencies. And so you
So it's October 7th. They've got to get an application in by October 7th. Okay.
Exactly. And there were 3 ways to apply. 1-800-659-2955 is our SBA phone number. You can call and get an application. You can apply online, the disasterassistance.gov that you did. There's a link there. Perhaps we can go there and you can
we can actually show, absolutely.
Show them how to apply, if you will.
Yeah, let's get there. Hold up. I'm going to show this little graphic thing first. So
And then
they
the
can see.
third step really is coming into our disaster recovery center and meeting our friendly customer service staff and then filling out the application. Because we find post-disasters, folks are not really indulgent with the technology piece. They
Right.
want someone to talk to.
Right,
And that's
right.
where our FEMA brethren and SBA can help alleviate some of the stress that goes hand in hand with. And in one of those particular spots, you'll see apply online.
Yeah, I'm going to get that on the screen. So you got a little short description. We'll come back to this description for everybody who's watching. It's like, oh, look, there's good little summary information there. But we're going to share the screen here so we can take a look at what the website looks like. Give me 1 second.
And there is no county restriction. In other words, folks living in St. Louis can come to St. Charles. folks living in St. Charles can go into St. Louis when it comes to disaster recovery
Okay.
centers.
Yep.
And it's a porous environment. There's no restriction per se. I want to make sure that we share that openly. And of course, the Business Recovery Center is specific to the needs of the business community.
Yeah.
And we can always come back to the website later. If
Yeah, we
can.
can do it. We'll get it on. It's having a little bit of a trouble getting it, but that's okay. We'll figure it out. Hey, it's all live, you know.
Yep.
I guess it's stuck on something. Maybe I'm trying to download something or whatever.
And disasterloanassistance.sba.gov is the SBA address. And let me say that slower.
Yeah, please do. Yes.
disasterloanassistance.sba.gov. And of course, you've got the HTTPS, :2/ right before it. But disasterloanassistance.sba.gov has been frequently used, and I haven't had to use the HTTPS before.
Right? Yeah, you'll be
it's
okay.
like,
Yeah. Yeah, you'll be okay, I think, without it.
Yes, sir. So 3 ways to apply on our end, too.
Right.
And, of course, in my humble opinion, coming out to the Disaster Recovery Center, talking to our friendly staff is the way to go. Because a lot of things that you think are not eligible becomes eligible. Just the Q&A, just a friendly banter.
Right.
A shoulder to lean on makes a big difference.
Well, and we've seen that too with folks who might be, and hopefully you're not in both boats, but we do have some folks who have applied for rental assistance before, and there's a number of renters who've been impacted. And having those in person or somebody to help you directly, right? Instead of some kind of a computer or whatever it might be. But
And on the flip side, those renters are paying rent to landlords. So this would be a good time for me to briefly talk about the landlords, if I may. So those landlords can borrow money from the SBA at a fixed interest rate of 2.935%, maximum amortization of a 30-year term, no fees, no points, no closing costs, no prepayment penalty, minus any insurance recoveries that we've talked about in the past. We cannot, like our FEMA brethren, we can't duplicate insurance benefits. We can do the assignment of insurance proceeds that we talked about.
Yeah.
But overall, the businesses can apply. So in this case, a commercial real estate owner that owns multifamilies, duplexes, single-family apartment complexes, and basically their homes have been destroyed. Renters' home been destroyed.
Yeah.
So the landlord can borrow money from the SBA and have it repaired. And then, for the amount of the lease that was vacated, so using my good friend Isa as an example, let's say he rents an apartment and you are the landlord, he applies with FEMA for personal property assistance. He then vacates his home while you repair. So the value of his lease, so let's say he has a 6-month lease and he can't be back in his home for the remaining 5 months of the year. Okay? Can you believe it's September here already?
yeah, right.
The landlord, you could apply for the economic injury that was caused as a result of the storm and the flooding. So he doesn't have to worry about it coming out of his pocket because he vacated the lease. You have the peace of mind that the federal government came in to help out with making sure that you're made whole. So the whole community is made whole. That's our whole program. Our role, our SBA role, is to make the community whole as if the disaster didn't occur. Stabilize the tax base.
Yeah.
Make sure that the spending that usually is thriving without a disaster by the business owners continues on.
It's interesting because there's been, and I'm sure you've seen this in other places too, but in our area, we have a pretty severe lack of affordable housing for a lot of folks, right? And so in situations where all of a sudden all of these units go offline, right? So now, folks can't live there. It does take a while, right? Even if the money might come, it still takes a while for the contractor to go in and do everything. I know that there's like the temporary assistance that you can get reimbursed, right? For folks, I guess, who can put a hotel on a credit card for a little while and they're fortunate to be able to do it. They can get reimbursed for that. But during this, I guess it's going to be at least somewhat of a transitional time for folks to figure out, where can I go? And there are a lot of folks who don't have an answer to that question. Are there, here, obviously, it sounds like, yes, absolutely, come in, apply, and at least get some help with that. But what resources, are there resources from the federal side of things for that lack of housing that is now present?
Okay. So basically, you know, that's a very much in the world of FEMA. They have their own relocation assistance, and my good friend will give you the phone numbers to call to get that type of garner assistance. Our role is on the infrastructure side,
Yeah,
right?
rebuilding.
Rebuilding,
Yeah.
repair, rehabilitation. And our job is to make sure that we work hand in hand with FEMA to make sure that it's taken care of.
So like when they're coming here, they're going to disasterassistance.gov. Part of that is this relocation assistance too. Is that right?
Yeah, this is where we have the rental assistance.
Okay.
So for now, they can come in and apply for rental assistance. Obviously, then if you are not able to walk in, you can also call the 800 number,
Yeah, sure.
800 621-3362. I think you have it there. Or
Sure
you
do,
go
yep.
back to the disasterassistance.gov. So they will be able to explain to you what is available for rental assistance. So FEMA provides that too.
Okay. Yeah, and I am on the website, so if there's anything that you think is important for me to show up.
To look over my shoulder, find apply online, check status.
Right
So
here.
go to apply online real quick if you don't
Yeah,
mind.
absolutely. Okay. So then it's going to give me an image. I got to test it out, make sure I'm a human being, right?
Correct, sir.
Yeah, that's always a
You are
problem.
very
with
much,
something.
you're much breathing.
You guys are verifying, so I don't even need to hit this, right? I'm already here. We're good. Okay. All right, so we get some text that tells me what I'm going to need to complete the application, right?
Correct.
And then I can start the application. Should I hit
Correct.
that? Okay. So this is why it's nice to come in, because then you guys can get
Exactly.
help with all of this stuff.
Exactly.
Okay. So it's got some more disclosures here about paperwork, everything else, and then I'm hitting next on this one too.
Please.
Okay.
At some point in time, we won't be able to go further without filling in an application.
Finally. All right, here we go. I accept the Privacy Act statement. I am eligible, so I'm actually kind of lying right now, but this is for tutorial purposes only.
Yes, sir. Do not call the feds on it.
I'm a lawyer. I got to do that little disclaimer here, right? Yeah. I should put like education on the front of this. Okay. Okay, so vehicle, that was a question I really needed to ask. So it says vehicle only. So that's been a big issue, right? And a lot of folks, very reliant on cars for transportation. Say our public transportation could be a little bit better, a lot better. So vehicles are also covered by these programs too. Is that right?
Correct. Personal property includes cars.
Great.
And we're able to assist with the repair, recovery, rehabilitation of a car.
Yeah.
So when the appraiser goes out, they will ascertain how many cars in the household, what type of scope of damages, and that's part of the calculus.
Got it. Okay. All right. So now I'm here. So I'm in the application. So it looks like there's different sections on the left side. So it gives me how far I basically am.
Correct.
And then this is where it's going to ask for personal information. This is the stuff that you want to have. And then you go through, and at some point, once you provide all that information,
You hit
looks like,
submit, and then the answer pops up.
okay, great. And then if I'm having, what happens after that? What happens after I submit it online?
Yeah, after submitting your application online, you wait for a response from FEMA. You will hear from FEMA. Yeah.
How does FEMA contact? Should I be checking my email? Some people don't do that.
Yes, they will send you an email, then
Okay.
they will call you. That is why
Okay.
when you are applying, you come with a phone number where you can be contacted.
Okay, so you will be called, if I'm not responding to my email, you're going to be calling me
They
and
will
say,
call-
hey,
FEMA will
buddy.
call, then at the same time,
Okay.
they will send you a letter to the current address where you are living.
Okay.
So that is why they also need that information.
Got it.
Then of course
Cell
your-
phones,
your cell phone.
emails.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. And please make sure that if your home is not receiving mail, that you put down the address where you're currently residing.
Right,
Because
right,
that's key.
right.
And the applicant will know, the registrant will know that they were referred over to the SBA because they'll get a phone call, application packet in the mail where they say that they're staying,
Yeah,
and an email.
got it.
And please take note. Please apply, even if you don't think you qualify, so that you can get to pot number 3.
Yeah,
Because if you notice, we've talked about pots. Number 1 is safe, secure, sanitary condition grants.
yeah,
Pot number 2 is the SBA, low interest state disaster loans. Okay? Pot number 3, if you don't qualify for them, is FEMA's other needs assistance.
yeah. Okay, I'm going to put that little graphic up this time. Hold up, that one that I previewed a little early.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and then that way, I think that's a good, because it's a good summary of everything that we've been talking about to a large degree.
And again, my appreciation for you doing this with
Oh,
FEMA
absolutely.
and I, because, needs of the community are being met by this very valuable information session.
This is great, yeah.
Yes, and we also want them to know that the recovery centers are here. We have about
Yeah.
3 recovery centers, one here in St. Charles, the other one in St. Louis City,
Yep.
and the other one's in St. Louis County.
Right. We got that. So this is St. Charles,
Yes, St. Charles
right
is
off
at
of
the,
70.
Yes, yeah, the Development Disability Resource Board,
Yep.
which is, as you said, Country Road Club.
Right.
Yeah, 1025. Then the other one is at the Rankin Technical
Right,
College.
Rankin Tech, uh-huh.
Yes, then the other one is as Hazelwood,
Uh-huh.
which is in St. Louis County.
Yeah, and Hazelwood got hit pretty hard with all of this stuff,
Yes,
too.
so there
Hazelwood
is
used
right
to be.
there.
Yeah.
Yes, so the recovery center closed yesterday, but it will reopen on Monday. That is from 12 midday
Yeah.
to 7 p.m.
Okay.
So it will be reopened. So
And for those business owners that want to contribute to the vibrancy of the community, and they are short of working capital needs, a shout out to my St. Louis District Office for the SBA. They're able to help put you in touch with lenders that are able to bump up your temporary working capital needs, because it's all about, being able to assist. You want to make all disasters are local, first of all.
Yeah, absolutely.
And second, if you are short of the working capital, talk to the lenders, and they'll be glad to assist you. And I'm not speaking on behalf of lenders or the SBA district office, but there are options available for business owners
Yeah.
where they can talk about how to
Right.
assist the needs of the community.
Right.
Okay,
right.
so shout out to those business owners that want to make sure that the recovery is local,
Mm-hmm.
that they're able to facilitate. And if they have every business owner has a working capital constraint. Talk to your lender, see what they can do.
Yeah. Okay. So first step one, if you've got insurance, file a claim there, right? See what you can do.
Correct.
Step 2 is to either come here, go to disasterassistance.gov, fill out that application so that you're in the FEMA system, right?
That's correct.
Okay. And then 3, in some situations, if you've applied to FEMA, you will be automatically referred to SBA, to whatever it might be. Maybe it's repairing your home or something else that
Right.
makes sense to be with SBA, right?
And just so that we are careful, you're an attorney, words matter.
Yes,
We
they do.
want to use the words, you might be referred.
Right.
Plausibility.
Right.
Yeah.
Plausibility, potentiality. You might be referred.
Right.
You might is a word.
Yes.
Okay. So the statistics, as they say, depending on how you feel about statistics, right? We don't want to quote Mark Twain. It was from here about statistics and his thoughts about
Right.
Mark Twain.
Yeah.
So basically, you might be referred, and if you are referred, please make sure that you fill out the application, because that will open the doors for the needs assistance.
Yeah.
In the event that you feel that you cannot qualify, don't want one, the numbers will bear themselves out.
Right.
But if you're so fortunate that you happen to have income or able to afford the dollars and cents to recover, please
Yeah.
come talk to us once you get approved.
Right.
Okay? In my opinion, as much as technology is friendly, seeing somebody is huge, which is why we have
Yeah.
disaster recovery centers,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
We open them in conjunction with the state, who feel that people are benefited from. So if the center doesn't see that much traffic, the state might reserve the right of closing it and going somewhere else. Again, I don't want to speak on behalf of the state, but there have been situations where the traffic is slowed and
Right.
and centers move away.
Sure.
Again, I'm not speaking on behalf of the state, making sure that no one gets
Right.
upset over that piece.
Right.
But traffic is very closely measured.
Yeah.
So St. Charles County residents, I saw some television footage about the policeman saving the gentleman or the lady from the rising floods.
Yeah.
I saw that other night. Very, very heroic work. Please come by. Your car was damaged, the particular person that we saw on
yeah.
television. I heard sections of 70 was underwater. Please come in. Please make sure that you take advantage of us. We're here for a reason.
Yeah.
The governor of Missouri asked us to be here with the assistance of FEMA. So no one showing up at the center would be a travesty.
Right.
So we
right.
need your assistance.
Right. The resources are here, and it's far. Very often folks who are in a bad way, right? And then this is kind of the tipping point to make it a really bad way, right? You're like barely making ends meet. Now you've lost your car, you've lost a it can be really, really hard to then like get out of the house and come to something, but You do, and the folks here, super nice and have been super helpful, and it can open a lot of doors for you. It's definitely worth the time, and sometimes, you gotta ask a friend, hey, can you come and get me over here? But, that's what friends are for, right?
Indeed.
So,
Right.
and that's what this program here is for, too. So it's great to see both of you here. It's important.
Thank you so
Indeed it
much.
is.
Yeah, thank you
Yeah.
so
It
much.
is, because, in my 11 years with the SBA, I haven't come across a more empathetic, compassionate crew than both of our agencies. The common denominator for this job is empathy, because when someone goes through a disaster, whether it be flooding here in St. Louis or Hurricane Ida in New Orleans, where I had the privilege of serving the state, and many other disasters nationwide,
Yeah.
the sense of loss that the folks are experiencing cannot be dismissed by saying, here's an application, fill it out and come back.
Right.
It is really measured by the empathy that you put forward.
Right.
And, the buy-in is important. That's where folks like you are instrumental in advocating for assistance, driving traffic in. So
Traffic,
we
yeah.
appreciate you yet again.
Absolutely.
At the
Oh.
sound of sounding gratuitous. We appreciate your role, and my FEMA brethren, they do an extraordinary job of not only canvassing the neighborhood, but helping us be co-located here.
Yeah.
And referring those applicants over to us so we can assist with them.
Right.
It's really a symbiotic process.
Yeah. No, it's very apparent just by how I've been here for a few hours now, and just seeing how you all are working, and just the willingness to present and come and do all of this stuff has been great. So thank you
Yeah.
for coming to Missouri.
for
Thank you so
having
us.
much. Thank you for having us, and thank you again for the good work. And then we encourage everyone to come in to apply. FEMA assistant is here. Then, of course, my brother here from the SBA.
Green
Also
sheet. The green sheet
The
is here.
green sheet is what you want to look for when you come to the Disaster Recovery Center. We
By
have
the
had a
green sheet.
chance to talk about monies that are available for mitigation. We have now talked about on a case-by-case basis how the SBA is able to refinance your existing mortgage. It's on a case-by-case basis.
Okay.
So come by, talk to us.
Yeah.
On a case-by-case basis, we're able to also assist those homeowners that want to relocate from one side of the street to another subdivision because it constantly floods.
Yeah.
So involuntary relocation is part of our program, but come talk to us. There's so many different facets
Yeah.
that we can't cover in an hour.
Right.
And we don't want to put anybody to sleep either.
Right.
So,
Yeah. I've been known to do that a couple times. Hopefully not today, but
yeah, I tend to think that we are a very dynamic group, but
Right.
just in case somebody.
we're really entertained. So,
Yeah, I want to give a small example for those folks who are listening in who might know cricket. Cricket is a game that's played in the Commonwealth. Of course, I'm from India originally, and there was a batsman. We call our hitters batsmen, and one of the greatest that ever lived was playing against a pitcher who was one of the greatest that ever bowled, which is our pitcher.
Yes.
And while he was about to face one of the best bowlers in the world, they happened to be playing county cricket in England, and he suddenly stopped and says, "Stop," walks past the umpire, past the bowler, looks at a gentleman sitting in the audience reading a newspaper. And true story. And he said, "You got the best batsman in the world, you got the best bowler in the world bowling to him, and you got one of the most outstanding cricket players in the United Kingdom, and you're reading a newspaper?" So I want to use
Must
that
have
as
been a really good article,
must have been. Or using football analogy, you're watching, the greatest show on earth.
Yeah.
From Kurt Warner to Torrey Holt.
Look at this. They
or
did
what
their
have you.
research. They did their.
And you were reading a newspaper. Give
Yeah.
me a break.
Yeah, come on,
So
yeah.
anyway, having said that, a little bit of levity.
Yeah.
Please come by.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Isa, for being a part of this interview.
Yeah.
And I look forward to assisting the needs of the many.
Yeah, thank you so much. We just want to emphasize again
Yes.
in closing that don't forget you come to the Disaster Recovery Center with your phone number and contact, your address at the time of the flooding, the address where you are living now, then your social security number, don't forget that. Then the basic list of damages and losses, then bank information. If you have that, then your insurance policy or insurance number.
That's correct.
Bring your stuff.
that,
Bring your stuff.
Underinsured,
We are here to open.
uninsured, low interest rate disaster loans, renters, homeowners, businesses of all sizes, and faith-based organizations, which is a private nonprofit. And I'll just say a brief comment about them. FEMA does not consider, neither does the law, consider faith-based organizations essential in nature. The pathways for those nonprofits, which are not essential in nature, is to come to the SBA.
Okay.
Call us for additional information, visit us for additional information. For the sake of time, I want to hand it back to you, sir.
Yeah, well, hey, best part of this is that if you don't know what to do, but you know something is wrong, you come here and they'll figure it out. They'll tell you if you go to the SBA, tell you if you go to FEMA. That's the whole point of having everybody together.
And your advocacy is huge because if they reach out to you, you'll call me
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'll give you the response.
I know. I put my phone number on the screen this whole time. What was I doing? What was I doing?
Any questions that we need to answer from the web?
I think, no, we had some that were coming through text and everything else. So if you do have more, put them in the comments. I know where these guys are all the time now, so we'll get that. Thanks for tuning in. If you are watching this or listening to this late, feel very welcome to share it with folks that you know might need it. Definitely share the website, disasterassistance.gov. And if you want to see the replay of the video again, you want to go listen to it again, you can always go to eladgross.live. Thanks, everybody, and you have a lovely